Hello, this is Archie Dunlop with Talking Astrology with Archie on Wednesday, February the 22nd, 2023. Now, I think it's going to be a good day. This is because the moon in Aries is conjunct Venus and Jupiter. Now, Venus and Jupiter are the two benefics, the most fortunate planets in the solar system. So with the moon aspecting both of them, things are going to be very fortunate for us if we make the effort, if we reach out, if we look for the best in people, the best in ourselves, then I think we can make amazing progress. And it's also important to note that the new moon is now beginning to break out. No longer is the new moon really in its seed stage. It's starting to get more developed. And that means that we can start putting things into action in a more overt way. So if there's something we've been wanting to do, we've been afraid, perhaps we've been worried that it's just not going to work, now might be the time to do it. Of course, nothing is guaranteed and you can't just look at astrology, but astrology is one of the things to consider. So brand new projects can be launched. You can actually go and tell people about them now. From a romantic point of view, it's also good because Venus is the planet of romance. The moon is a nice sensitive planet. So when moon and Venus come together, that means that everyone is very sensitive. You can get your feelings out into the open. And with Jupiter, it's okay to gush. It's okay to be slightly exaggerated. So that looks great. So any romantic activities are certainly well starred. And I think in many cases you can tell people how you feel and not be too afraid of being embarrassed. Now, there is a serious side to the day. Because Saturn is exactly 45 degrees from Chiron. Chiron is I think it's a comet actually, and it's far away. It was discovered in 1977, and it's described as the wounded healer. And when Saturn is exactly 45 degrees from Chiron, we get the impression of an old man, might be an old woman, who's in some way wounded. Someone close to us who's older than us, probably significantly older than us, is hurting. So look around. See, that might not seem obvious to you, but is there someone you know who's older, perhaps wiser than you as well, but has got some kind of wounds, has got something unresolved? What can you do to make the situation better? And if you can't think of anything, well, you could perhaps do something with the elderly. Of course, you might be elderly yourself. Well, I'm pretty elderly myself now. I'm getting old, but there's always someone older than me. So consider the old people around you, and ask yourself what you can do to make their lives better. And if you do that, you're going to be surprised, because just because someone might seem frail, infirm, whatever, they've definitely got something to offer. They've got not just wisdom, but actually some healing. So that is something to consider. Now, what I also want to talk about is the United States. The United States is, I think, in some respects, is a terrorist state. And I want to try and understand this astrologically. Now, if you've been following the news, you will know that a few months ago, the Nordstream 2 pipeline, which was a joint venture between Russia and Germany, I believe, was blown up. And at the time, there's a lot of discussion about who might be involved. Did the Russians blow up their own thing? Was it America? Because this was an attack not just on Russia, but also on Germany. Because by disrupting the flow, potentially disrupting the flow of gas between Russia and Germany, it's an attack on the German people, on German industry. And now it's becoming very clear that it was America that blew it up. That's right. America committed an act of terrorism against Russia and its own ally. So I want to try and understand astrologically what is going on in America. I mean, why is America so flawed in this sense that it can actually commit a terrorist act? So I want to look at two charts. So on the left, you can see the chart of the United States. Now, what you will notice about this chart is if you look at the right of the chart, and you'll see a planet looking rather like a television aerial, is Uranus. Uranus was exactly setting when the Declaration of Independence was signed. Now, okay, we don't know for sure what that exact time was, but the most common chart for the signing of the Declaration of Independence has Uranus on the 7th house. Now, psychologically, Uranus is about projection. You kind of see yourself, you have your own problems and issues which you can't accept, so you project it onto other people. And Uranus is a planet of terrorism. It's a planet of bombs, explosions, whatever. So you project your capacity for bombs and explosions and causing chaos onto other people. You blame people for what you yourself are responsible for doing. And perhaps this is a feature of American history. The impact of America on the world. One thinks of all the regime changes that America has been involved in. I mean, you can think of, Mossadegh in Iran in the early 50s. There was a democratically elected government in Iran that America overthrew. You think of the Arab Spring in 2011, how America caused absolute chaos in the Middle East, and hundreds of thousands of people died. You can think of all the assassinations in Central America that the United States was involved with. Yet, the United States is a country that accuses other people of being terrorists. So this is a kind of projection. And we can see this in the United States' horoscope with its Uranus on the 7th house cusp. Now, this may not always be the case. There may be times when the United States is not projecting so much, but we now have a situation where the President of the United States, and on the right is Joe Biden's chart, and amazingly, Joe Biden has also got Uranus on the 7th house cusp. So he's chiming with the country in which he's president of. Both Biden and the United States have got Uranus on the 7th house cusp. Both are responsible for this projection. And here we have the president of a country that launches a terrorist attack on its ally, on Germany. Yes, the Nord Stream 2 pipeline, that was blown up by the Americans. And, this is a country that is obsessed with terrorism, that wants to accuse everyone of being a state sponsor of terrorism. Anyone that upsets it, it wants to call them a state sponsor of terrorism. It has sanctions against Iran. and Iran being a sponsor of terrorism and so forth. But America needs to set its own house in order. Here is a terrorist state, and we can see it in America's chart. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say, and I will see you tomorrow.